to Weekends with Whitney and Baton Rouge Marathon Madness. We're going to have all the fun, all the action, and a few surprises coming up for you this morning. It's flower power. Find out why these guys have blossomed into Louisiana Marathon favorites and how their pedals make all the difference. Plus, meet a marathon world record holder, despite the fact that he's never come in first place. His unforgettable secrets to success, happiness, and fulfillment on and off the course. Plus, Dr. Nick explores how positive psychology and key emotions create well-being and happiness. But first, more on the Baton Rouge Marathon. Running in Red Stick has never been more popular, and it's never been more fun.
Move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. Yeah, like to move it.
Wait, let's back this up.
You want to take the leg off?
A lot of legwork goes into running this show. Traffic cones, banners, boxes bulging with swag, and scaffolding are all part of what's now a $1 million marathon. Its economic impact is quadruple that. Not bad for a race co-founder Pat Fellows says some didn't think would make it from the start.
I remember when we went in, the first conversations we had when we went into LSU and said, we want to finish in Tiger Stadium. We're going to have a 2,500, 5,000 people. And they said, oh, your little race will have 300 people. We're not interested in having y'all. And, y'all can have it on the front 9 where all the other 5Ks go. And we went downtown, and at the time, the mayor and everybody was like, we want you. So, and nothing against LSU, I get it. They just didn't have any, nobody's had put on a race that's this big in town, so.
Sure, they didn't have your vision.
No, but that's how it goes sometimes.
It's all right, you showed them what you could do.
Exactly.
Nearly 9,000 people from 32 countries will compete this year. Co-founder Craig Sweeney says every race is memorable, but it'll be extra special for one guy.
But we have a gentleman coming from England who's running his 400th marathon. So it's going to be pretty cool.
Jonathan knows firsthand. He started running 10 years ago.
A buddy of mine that I was working with, that we were traveling for work, and he's like, we got to start running, getting, so otherwise we're going to pack the pounds on. So we started running together when we were traveling, and then that led to adventure races.
Then triathlons, then marathons. Do you win?
No. No. The people that win those things are not human. I don't know what who they are or where they come from, but no, I don't win. I have fun.
Yeah. It must be addictive.
It is. It's something that, setting a goal and working to achieve it, and a personal goal. Yeah. My goal is not to win, but a personal goal and achieving it's a lot of fun. It's rewarding, and I've always looked at it that, I hate exercise. Exercising is terrible. Like, going to run for exercise sounds awful, but I can train. So if I have a goal, it's not exercise, it's training. And training gets you out the door.
I'll remember that.
Wanting to look good naked only gets you out of bed like 2 times. and then it's over after that.
So that's what I've been doing wrong all these years. These guys love running so much, they kiss their previous jobs goodbye.
Now it's what we do full time.
Wow.
Quit our real jobs 3.5 years ago, and now work really hard.
For
no money.
But a lot of love.
But I love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything. But yeah. I've never worked this hard before in my life.
For so little.
We joke all the time. I'm pretty sure I'm unemployable at this age. I don't think I could go back and work for somebody else.
Right.
What do you mean I have to wear pants?
Dress code? What? What do you mean you don't like my t-shirt?
It's tank top every day, not tank top Tuesdays or anything like that. It's every day.
On race day, it'll take 1,000 volunteers to see this to the finish line. along with dozens of others they fly in, known as race carnies.
So just like the guys that follow the bands, you know, from on a concert tour that go and set up the stages and get everything ready, that's what they do. They travel all over the world, from Beijing to, you know, the New York Marathon.
Mandy West ran the New York Marathon, but last year was her first in Baton Rouge.
They did an amazing job. Like, everyone was super hospitable. The course was great.
It was really great for Amity Ashak. She was shocked to win last year's marathon, her first ever.
No words. I had no idea.
Was it something she ate?
I had a sweet potato for breakfast.
That's it? One sweet potato?
One sweet potato. That's like my go-to before the marathon.
So what did you eat last night?
Sushi and a sweet potato and a piece of king cake.
She gets bragging rights, but no prize money. It's been that way from the start.
It was twofold. You know, our idea was we wanted a race again for Louisiana. We wanted to kind of capture what we're about. And not that the elite runners aren't a special piece of running, but for us it's about everybody else. Like, it's the everyman that's coming out there and running the 5K to the, you know, our original goal was to get people running. It was kind of this idea of going from the 49th least healthy state to #1 and building an event that everybody could come to.
Louisiana hasn't risen to #1, but we're stepping it up. The number of area marathon runners has more than tripled.
And that's super cool to know that you've affected somebody and given somebody that opportunity.
Even those who aren't running or volunteering can help by cheering. One of the things that surprises me the most is that all these people who do so many marathons and they're so dedicated will stop and grab a beer during the middle of the race.
Yeah, mile 10 I felt great, and I knew there was a beer coming. It was just like ecstatic going, I have a beer.
Beer was in higher demand than water. Some runners even opted for something stronger. Others grabbed a sugar rush, devouring a good old donut, much to the delight of the crowd. But I'm not sure how well it sat in their stomach. If it wasn't refreshments and cheers keeping the runners going, a little flowering up always helps. These guys are blooming with encouragement.
We rode to mile 23 and cheered on everybody at the end. They're struggling at that point. They need a little flower power.
I don't know who's having more fun out here, the runners or the spectators, but I certainly found a runner who's able to pretty much combine both.
So I party my way through all these.
This is Clyde Shank's 150th marathon, a big day for any runner. He lives in Dallas, but chose to run his 150th in Baton Rouge. It's his third time here.
I love it. This is Partyville.
How does it rank compared to the rest of them?
Oh, way up there. Way up there.
He used to be obsessed with his race time until his wife started running marathons with him more than a decade ago. He says she taught him the best lesson of all.
God bless her heart. She taught me slowing down and partying during a marathon, just keeping your pace nice and easy and and just really having fun is the key to being healthy.
Clyde always makes new friends off and on the route called life.
I don't know that we'll find it.
Hey! All right, rockin' Andrew!
This is Clyde's third marathon in just 8 days.
You gotta find your passions in life and pursue them.
As we say around here, laissez les bon temps rouler.
Fun. Great people. You got to enjoy all the crowds that come out. And when you interact with the people in the crowds, that pulls them into the excitement. And hopefully it'll entice some of the people in the spectator group to come out and join us.
And evidently he's right. The number of runners in Baton Rouge has ballooned since the marathon first started 4 years ago. Organizers say it's shaping a healthier community, one step at a time. Coming up as Weekends with Whitney continues, all these people are in the midst of their run right now, but the fun comes next. We're going to show you how Baton Rouge really throws a victory party for all the runners in Red Stick. Plus, Dr. Nick explores how positive psychology and key emotions create well-being and happiness as Weekends with Whitney continues.
Break out of the chaos.
Welcome back to Weekends with Whitney. Well, whether they've run 13.1 miles or 26.2, the party is not over. Oh no, the run is just part of the fun, because after that, everyone comes out for the celebration. Frank Hope, or Scooby as his friends call him, has run all 4 Louisiana marathons. Today was nearly perfect.
This year was phenomenal. The weather was perfect. A little bit cold at the start, but it warmed up, and the finishing weather is phenomenal.
Okay. So was his running. He had his best time ever, just under 5 hours. And even 2 hours after running 26.2 miles, he was still going. During that race, others kept him going.
It's unlike other courses where you kind of know that a cheering section is coming up. On this course, it's sporadic. You know, people pop up where you don't expect them. It's phenomenal. You know, run around the backside of the lakes. There was this one house that had a lot. They had Bloody Marys and mojitos and beers, and it was phenomenal. It was exactly what I needed to keep going with where I was.
For Linda Fulmore and Linda Lee, who stopped their half-marathon run for a hug, hello, and hydration, this race was not about the clock.
I think because at my age, I want to keep running. So if I can, whatever I can do to better that run, to make it easier on me, which is a good recovery for my legs, not so much my cardiovascular, but for my legs, then that's what I need to do. And that's what I was looking at, totally.
Geraldine Simon was happy to find her running friends along the course.
My marathon story was, it was very painful because I've been going through a lot of injuries lately. But I met up with Linda and Linda Lee, and I took a lot of pictures on the way. It wasn't a timing thing, it was just a fun thing to see if I can get through it.
And how do you feel about you right now?
I can't wait to get home. and soak in an Epsom salt bath.
And remember Clyde Shank, who I met during the race? Well, I couldn't find his wife during the run, but I did run into her at the celebration. Kelly says she started racing in 2001 to feel the joy.
Just watching him at the finish line and to watch the other people, and I thought, I want to feel like that. You know, once you stand at a finish line, you really get perspective.
For Kelly, it's never been about finishing first.
The people that are beginning, it's easy for them, but the back of the pack, that's the heart and the soul right there. And you see the different expressions and how happy they are to accomplish something like that. I mean, 26.2 miles, it's a long ways. It really is. Until you set your heart on it, you don't understand, I think, really, how hard it is.
Kelly told me Clyde's joy is helping others cross that finish line.
He usually tries to find someone in trouble, and then he'll bring them in with him because he said, you know, I've done all these marathons, so the finish line to me isn't that exciting unless I'm helping someone that's in trouble. So last week he found a little guy that was, I think, 17 or 18 years old, and the week before is a young girl, and he just gives them little supplements and helps them and brings them to the finish line.
Helping others has helped Clyde achieve amazing things no one else in the world ever has.
That he's the oldest person in the world that has done all 50 states, all the continents twice, and the North Pole. He is.
No, he evidently wanted you to brag on him.
He's very humble. He never tells people that. He's about to finish the 50 states for the second time around, and he only has 2 more continents to finish the continents for the 3rd time. He's my hero.
And party, have a great time in life, and go after whatever turns you on.
Did you have a favorite part? Was it the lakes? Was it the neighborhoods? Was it the trees?
Right there at the finish line. Yeah.
Louisiana's Old State Capitol educates the public on Louisiana's rich history and the democratic process through exhibits, programming, and the arts. The museum is dedicated to advancing the collection and preserving this national historic landmark. Visit LouisianaOldStateCapitol.org.
There is such a thing as positive psychology. Dr. Nick joins us this morning with more. What is?
I was at a seminar not too long ago, and the person that was teaching had said, "Yeah, you're Mr. Positivity," and I was like kind of taken back, and then I started really getting into positive psychology. Seligman is one of the founders of it, and it's not about always upbeat and always happy and always bubbly. It's really not. It's about focusing on more positive, soul-feeding, psychic-feeding emotions.
Okay.
So I think we ought to start. What's the one emotion that all of Baton Rouge can say, I know what that is?
Oh, euphoria.
Yeah. If you don't know what euphoria is, which is a great emotion,
Oh my gosh.
Think of where you were Monday night at 11:30. You were just euphoric.
Absolutely.
And it's just, and again, it's not that it's going to last forever. I read that most people had the LSU flu the next day. So, so it's but euphoria certainly is one.
Joy is certainly one, right?
Joy is one, and I've for many years, Whitney, struggled with the difference between happiness and joy, and maybe I'm getting too nuanced, but I do think there's a difference because joy feels a little bit more pervasive and ongoing, even when things aren't necessarily at their best. There's still a sense of joy. I just think of happiness as kind of fleeting.
Right.
And again, that may be just a play on words.
Absolutely.
But joy is something that we talk of, certainly in the Christian world, we talk about joy a lot.
A lot.
Christian joy. And I don't think it's unique to just that religion. I think it is a positive emotion. There is one that struck me that I got all excited about because I could easily say, oh my God, I know that feeling.
Awestruck? I mean, you are awestruck by awe.
Awestruck, yeah, I should have probably said that first, but so there are two. Awe is certainly one. When I was, down on the beach for the holidays and I didn't go to New York, I was really in awe. It was 70 degrees, it was a breeze, there was nobody on the beach, just total silence. And I had that feeling of I'm just awestruck. And it's a religious feeling.
Sure.
It's not a doctrinal or rule, or it's just like, wow.
And I think nature tends to do that to a lot of us.
So much. But I also think, Whitney, what did it to me was that we're a very noisy society. It's just, when you're just bombarded all the time by noise, how do you have a chance to be in awe? You're too busy. I just felt so much more at peace, which is part of how I guess I got to the awe. But the other one, interest.
Interest.
I have said it many times to you and to people. What keeps me in this gig is the story.
You're right.
I am fascinated with people's stories, especially the ones that say, I'm embarrassed to tell you. I'm like, tell me. And it's not nosiness.
No.
You're a journalist.
Oh, I'm so interested in people. That's why, that's really the main reason why I think I love this job so much, is I love meeting people, I love talking to people, I love telling their stories.
But didn't you always?
Yes.
I mean, I would think you went into the business because you were interested.
Exactly. And so I don't know that that's something that you can create in yourself, that you have none of it. I'm sure everyone has some.
Some, yes.
Some people just seem so self-absorbed they really can't get out of themselves to be interested in others.
Yes.
And I'm thinking of the narcissist.
And that's where I think, that's why I wanted to make such a strong point of it. I think people would experience much more joy by experiencing more interest.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get where you are? Or how have you been feeling after your surgery? I said to someone the other night that recently had surgery. People need that.
Right.
It's a certain validation.
And we need it. It's sharing.
It is sharing. And it's a camaraderie. We start connecting. Nobody's told me anything that I am in judgment of. It's like, right. I get it.
Absolutely.
So you're embarrassed, which is kind of would be considered a negative emotion, but again, they're not always. But we're focusing on positive. So
yes, but I want to ask you, because we've run down some more, and I know we have some more positive emotions that will help just our whole inner self live more fully and completely. However, and I'll go back to awe or joy.
Okay.
How does just focusing on that emotion create that emotion?
Ask that again.
How does concentrating on that emotion create that emotion in us?
Whitney, I don't know that we need to. I think we need to be aware of these emotions.
Okay.
But I don't think that we need to go to try to create them.
Okay.
I think we ought to become more aware of them and give them more attention. Like, oh, this is a moment of interest. See, it's kind of having.
I see.
This is a moment of contentment.
This is a moment of euphoria. Let me really absorb it.
Let me absorb it.
Yeah.
Absorb it and get ready for the tomorrow. But I don't know that. I think it's a great question. I have to think about it because I'm not sure that we create it. I think we experience it, and we either let it fly by because
of the noise of the world.
Well, you know what one of them is? Tell me. It's satisfaction. Satisfaction, and see, we can miss satisfaction because we can never be satisfied. Right. So there's where I think the work comes is to. Wow, I feel satisfaction. I'm satisfied.
Yes, which doesn't mean never pushing yourself again.
Does not mean that at all. Contentment doesn't mean that I'm always floating in the clouds. Huh? There's always a challenge because I think it's a positive emotion. It's just being challenged.
Absolutely.
Or feeling challenged. You know, I wanted to mention that Jim Carrey, I watched this show where they gather around a table. I can't think of the name of it, but actors, and the last one was directors, and they literally have a conversation about their craft.
Oh, fun.
But Jim Carrey looked across the table at an actor and said, you know, I have followed you, he said, and I didn't know whether I wanted to feel envy or admiration. He said, and I chose admiration. Because that is a positive emotion.
Absolutely.
To admire someone, to admire a certain behavior, that's admirable. That's an admirable quality. And you feel good by noticing it.
Absolutely.
Huh?
Yes.
It almost feeds your own desire to be not ego admired, but to be admirable.
Yeah. Well, to admire someone else instead of, again, feeling envy or jealousy, which is I think a much darker emotion. I don't think it's healthy.
No, I would agree. I would agree with that. I was trying to think. It seemed like there were a couple more. Amusement, to be amused, confident. I mean, we say these.
Right.
We say it,
but we don't sit on them.
We don't sit on it, and we don't let it. We don't let it kind of, again, I call it digest. We don't, you know, we don't let it in enough. Anyway, have a great week, everyone.
Thanks, Dr. Nick. Have a great Sunday.
Have a great Sunday.
More Weekends with Whitney after this. Atlas Foundation Repair, fixing your foundation problems for more than 30 years while preserving and protecting your trees. Thanks for sharing your time with us here on Weekends with Whitney. Hope to see you back here again next week. But until then, we leave you with this.